My name is Chris.
And my name is Jen. We've been married for just 10 years now. We have 2 kids, Alexis and Sawyer.
We really enjoy spending time outside,
Camping and swimming and working in the garden and ice skating.
spending time with our newest additions, our chickens for the family.
I grew up going to church. I've always had the belief in God. I knew He existed and I believed in Him. Down the road, my family slowly stopped going to church. I didn't pursue it and went to college and kind of spread my wings without the religion behind me. And I went out a lot and I drank a lot of adult beverages. And I didn't have a focus in life. And as much as certain things can bring you joy, that doesn't bring you the deep inner joy. And I always felt like something was missing. And I knew God was always around, but I ignored Him for a long period of time.
I too had a similar background. Introduced to the church early on. I was baptized early on when I was a baby. Growing up, we probably my first 10 years, we regularly attended church, and then moved town to a different town, and things changed. I slowly started to drift away. When I was 18, I joined the Navy. Almost 7 years in the service, and really proud of my time. But from that, I think I started to develop an identity of myself, being a sailor and being in the military, and I started to embrace those, whether it was drinking or women, not experiencing any sort of sustainable relationship, and after my time in the service, it led to drug use. Those decisions led to emptiness and pain. It wasn't until, after we got married that started to have the serious conversations about getting back into the church. So we've been going to FCC for a little over 8 years, but it wasn't really, I would say, until the last couple of years that we started to get really involved with the church, whether it's been a missional community or our daughter going to Awana on Wednesdays, volunteer efforts, faith works, things like that, where you just start to build kind of this sense of belonging and community.
Once we joined a missional group, it drove home that we're not alone in this relationship. There are a support group, we send each other messages, I need prayers, and the feeling of belonging with God as well as with this group of people, I think that really put me over the top. For at least the last year, every time the baptism announcement came out, I could feel it in my heart, God saying, it's your time. And every time the baptisms came, here I am sobbing because it's so beautiful. And I'm hearing God telling me that I had to do it. And I kept listening, but I said, not yet, not yet.
And when that message came onto the screen was, baptism's coming, and I remember looking at you and just that nod. We nodded to each other like, no more excuses. We've been hearing it. We need to do this.
It was time.
For me, that moment when we came out of the water, I just remember the water kind of rushing over me, and it was just an amazing, joyful experience that I will forever treasure and forever remember.
When I came out of the water, I had my husband by my side and Larry. It was so symbolic of my sins being washed away, and then coming out of that water was just like, I felt refreshed, and it was just amazing. So after we were baptized and we were walking to change our clothes, and there's a couple members of the congregation that I've become friends with, and they both gave hugs, and the welcoming into the deeper part of the family, and the day was amazing, but those hugs, they mean the world to us, and the support we have at the church is just growing, and the relationships we've built it is truly a family, and it just added to the whole experience of actually being baptized. My baptism symbolizes leaving behind emptiness of a life without God, worrying about others' opinions, and it leads me to true happiness and God's love and a true sense of relief.
For me, I think it's leaving behind emptiness, brokenness, knowing the journey and the path that I was on and the emptiness. Deep down, it was that we're meant for something more. One day I can be side by side with Jesus, and yeah, we're a bigger family than sometimes we realize. When we do this together as a church family, we can take on a lot more. It's been amazing to watch, our kids growing up and praying before meals, and Lexi going to Awana on Wednesdays and on Sundays with Life Shaping.
So I like that my children have God in their lives, and they're constantly learning more about Him too.
I'm really excited to see where He continues to take us.